Well, happy Monday, everybody. It is the 8th of June, 2026, already the middle of the year. We are in year 29 of bringing you the voice of the prophets, and today is a GodTalked episode. We haven't done one of those for a while where we bring on a well-known person, a celebrity, and we kind of walk through them about their journey with the Lord, but also talk about the things that they're doing in their career, and often these things are important things for the Lord. Some of you saw the GodTalk photos that we ran today where the different celebrities came on and talked about it. It's a very conservative group, but I think one day we will probably be interviewing people who are not conservative, who will talk about their journey. And I'll ask Elijah about that too, because I have a very big interest in that area. So before we bring in Elijah Alexander, in case you haven't figured out who he is the one who plays Atticus, the tough guy, the guard, the soldier, the centurion or whatever. I'll ask him what's the official title of that. He's the spy who spies on Jesus in the Chosen series, and very intimidating figure. So it's interesting. He's not quite that person in real life. He's a very nice guy, and you're going to love getting to know him as we are getting to know him. But before we bring Elijah in, let's go ahead and run a quick spot about the wells you're helping us dig for the people of Uganda. So here we go with that.
While the world sleeps, she begins her walk. A heavy can, a heavier burden. Step after step, time keeps slipping away. She reaches the only water she can find, dirty and dangerous, but she has no choice. She should be in school right now. Another day missed, another opportunity lost. But imagine a different story. Imagine clean water, just steps away. Imagine mornings filled with learning, with laughter, and hope. Today, her hours are stolen by thirst, but you can give them back.
And then here's how you can help donate into this. We're drilling one new well every day, 365 days a year. 30 wells a month or 31, however that works out. We're going to drill the 1,000th well in October. So we hope you'll be there to at least to see when we bring back the report of the dedicating the 1,000th well. I've told some other people that the Ministry of Health in Uganda have told us that we, along with Show Mercy, are digging more wells for the people of Uganda than the nation, the government itself is doing. And that's the kind of their job to do that as well, because the outer sections of Uganda are completely undeveloped. No running water, no electricity, just like it's always been for eons of time. So anyway, thank you so much. When you see the little girl that's I think she was in a pink dress, you know, it was not lost on me that girls like that, just since we've been doing this, we've heard of two different children. One of them was a girl, I can't remember the story, and the other one slipped in and drowned because it's deep enough for a little child like that to drown, and they're miles away often. They have to carry that water from a mile or two, sometimes more, each way. And so drownings have happened. They've lost their life. They've been victims of abuse and attack on the trail, as you can imagine, a little child alone out there in the bush. And then you have the sicknesses from the filthy, dirty water that they bring back. Even though they put it in those yellow jerry cans, they still have to boil it. And even then, it's not really safe. So, because you just can't boil some of that stuff out of there. So, well, we appreciate you donating into that very, very much. So, all right. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to just introduce this. About 2 summers ago, my wife and I were privileged to get a private tour of the movie set, the series set of The Chosen in Dallas, Texas. Show that photo. This is us with Dallas Jenkins. That they were filming live that day, and Dallas came over to greet us personally. Not everybody gets to watch that. It's so hot, if you can tell, we're just dripping. But Dallas was doing the job, and he came over and met us. And actually, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that says, "Hey, would you take my picture with me?" But he said, "Would you like to get a picture?" You know, so I said, "Sure, yeah, absolutely." So I remember asking him that day, "How in the world do you do this? I would be so exhausted doing this, not only in the heat, but just day after day." And he said, "My secret is cold plunges." And I go, "Yeah, that ice water stuff." He goes, "Yep, it's a game changer." So I'm still trying to get the guts to do it, but I have a feeling he's exactly right. He says it makes all the difference in the world for him to be able to do this. So, and of course, he's giving the Lord glory too. This is part of the set. This is facing the other direction behind where we were standing. They shoot multiple things. There's a baptism scene where I don't know if that's the right word for it, where there's a purification scene where John's wife, I can't think of her name at the moment, sorry, my wife would tell me in an instant, but it's back behind us to the side. You look in there, if I'm remembering right, there's that pool. It didn't have the water where they put the candles in it, and there was this purification thing. So they use it for multiple things. That whole street had smoke generators. There's probably a right name for that. And it smelled like it would be, this is supposed to be Capernaum, and it smelled like there was fires around the city, and it looked very real. The air was full of smoke, which is what they wanted it to be. And so they were up there. We didn't get real close to the action. We were probably about 30, 40 yards away, or maybe a little closer than that. And but it was so fun to hear them retake and get it right. It was fun. And there's a baptism we'll talk about later today that they have a body of water there, a lake right beside that. That's like their back lot. And there's a body of water that they use also for the Sea of Galilee on this back lot in Dallas, Texas. And that's where the baptism that we're going to talk about today took place, and other things like that. So, all right, I think that's as much as I wanted to tell you. With that in mind, we're going to go ahead and bring on Elijah, also known as Atticus. Elijah Alexander. So here is Elijah. We're going to run a quick film as we go into this. So about a 1-minute clip that shows him in action, and then we'll come to Elijah. So here we go.
Yes?
I'm here to see Quintus.
That's Praetor Quintus, and who may only request an audience via form of...
How about now?
Atticus Emilius Pulcher?
Question for you. How do you hold up all that armor with no spine?
Don't be salty. Golf's not a bad place to retire. I hear the women all have red hair, and the music...
I'm not here to talk about women and music, though I'm sure you have plenty of time for both.
Yes, I do, because I keep things so tight around here. So I have time for you. Oh, and hail Caesar. Did I hail already? How can I serve him today?
I come bearing intelligence.
I bear ears.
Good. Open them wide, Quintus. I've got news. It's about Jesus of Nazareth.
Wow, what a tough guy, man. You have me intimidated all the way along, man.
Oh, Steve, I can't hear you again.
Uh-oh. Pull me off and bring it back on. Can you hear me now?
I
No,
still can't hear
no.
you.
Okay, try it one
Want
more
to hear
time,
you?
guys. No.
Can you hear me?
Do you want me to come back on, guys? Paul, someone tell me what to do.
I toggled it and it's not working. And it worked while you were in the intro, but now it's not. I don't
We're
know
having
why.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, we are.
You there and me here, us together. But at least
yeah.
we're in it together.
Yeah, we are in it together. Let's see. Paul, someone call him. So
We'll
we
have
can,
him. We'll kick him and have him come back in.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. Kick him. Oh, we're so sorry, folks. We're having trouble with the software, and I think it's probably not on his end. I think there's something with the software. There's a glitch. I'm going to have to ask my team to get in there and figure that out on a different day. We're really sorry. We're sure hoping we can fix this. Eden is her name. By the way, the woman's name was Eden. That is, or her character name is Eden. John's, am I saying that right? Is it John's wife? I think it is. I'm not as good at the names. Yes, it's John's wife, the disciple John, and they would do a lot in their home. They would meet up in their home. All of the disciples often met at John's house. And I think Peter supposedly, okay, he's going to come back in and we're going to see if this works. Yeah, Simon Peter. Was it Peter's wife? Yeah, it was Peter's wife. Sorry, guys. It was Peter's wife, and it was Eve in that baptismal thing. So I'm not sure what we're going to do if this can't work, but we are really going to try. We had this trouble once before, and we fixed it.
I fixed it while you were in your well spot monologue because he messaged me through StreamYard and said he couldn't hear you, and I toggled it and it worked. So I don't know why it didn't work the second time.
I mean, what I could, if he comes back on and can see, I can come back. I can get off myself and log back in. There's something where the computer is overthinking it. Is he back trying to get on or what?
Julie said he called and he's coming back on.
Okay, maybe he rebooted. Yikes. Anyway, our time at the studio was really fun, and they showed us through, that was like the back lot, and then it had to be like a mile away, he drove this dirt road to the main studio lot, and they had a bunch of different sets there. Now, can you hear me yet?
I got you now, Steve. Stevie
now, okay,
boy.
let us pray. I can't even tell you how many times people call me Stevie Boy, but it's been a while.
Oh, is that right?
I'll take it. Yeah, I used to be called Stevie by my parents. That was my name. So,
yeah.
My name was really Steve, but I mean, they would call me Stevie all my young childhood life. But yeah.
Well, my legal name is Stephen. So
really, yeah, with the PH,
with a V,
yeah,
with a V,
with a V,
like the saint. Yeah,
yeah. Was his but my King James says it with a P, doesn't it?
Oh, is it PH the saint?
Yeah.
Okay, then not the saint. Then after the V, whoever that Stephen with a V was.
Yeah, but it all means the same thing. It all means crowned one, no matter how you spell it, right?
We're all anointed. We're all anointed.
We
if we choose it, we got to choose it.
You got to choose it. That's a mouthful. Well, as we were coming on, I was saying you were so intimidating. I mean, in those shots, I thought, man, I don't know if this is going to be a hard interview because he looks intimidating to me. But it's not so. We'll have to talk later about the spy who fed me thing.
Sure.
We'll get into that. But the funny side of you and your team and all of that, I remember the one who plays Eve. I watched a clip from her a couple of years ago. I don't think it was last season. It was a season before, and they were doing a back scenes thing, and the camera happened to be on her when everybody was showing up for work the first day or something.
Okay.
And the camera just picked up, and she goes, "I'm back, baby." And I thought, that's not Eve. It was hilarious. I said, "Come here, Dream, my wife. Listen to this. I'm back, baby." It was great. You guys, you put your pants on one leg at a time, like everybody else. But
I mean, it's all part of creating. Entering into the great mystery and bringing everything we have as actors and actresses to a role to create a fully fleshed human being. So I mean, and especially when you're dealing with something so sacred, there's a certain tone set on set, a vibrational frequency that is the most amazing energy I've ever felt. on any set. Yeah, and it makes you feel so incredibly safe, so incredibly respected, so invested, so willing that, of course, I mean, there's so much fun going on because everyone is feeling a sense of freedom. And so this is obviously
Really?
off camera, but
Yeah.
yeah, practical jokes and lots
Really?
of fun. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
good,
let's-
innocent fun, but
Yeah, it sounds really, really fun. And these are
it's
both
important.
believers and non-believers. I want to come back to
Yeah.
that, but I guess I should have you. Would you tell people a little bit about your bio so they kind of know
Sure.
how you got into all this?
Well, first of all, Steve, I want to, after watching that video about the clean wells and drinking water in Uganda, I want to just applaud you for
Thank you.
your heart and what you're doing. It's so necessary and so needed, and it reminds me of the transitional time we're all living in now. We're moving from a place of, it feels like to me, a place where doing good or being good is simply not enough. And even doing good, being a good Christian, being a good Jew, being a good and devout anything
Yeah.
is no longer good enough. What's required now is action, activity, investment, service, outreach, education, getting out there and doing it. And that just was another reminder to me of someone who is doing it. I mean, you're actively involved in the sorrows and rejoicings of the world and being of service and making a contribution. And I mean, that's what we're here to do. So it's a great reminder. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. So I will just say the cold plunge is the real deal. I do it myself.
Do you really?
Absolutely. It's a game changer. It's a life changer. What you were referring to on set, the pool of purification is called a mikvah.
Okay.
Mikvah.
Okay.
I know because me as Elijah, before I was bar mitzvahed, I had to do mikvah, and that story is later to come if we get to it.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that was it. Yeah. Dallas Jenkins is an amazing leader, and what you felt there, at home, invited as a part of the community, is how he makes everyone feel, and
Wow.
that's why you get the level of work that we consistently get on The Chosen. It's because everyone is made to feel like they're part of something much, much greater than ourselves. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So,
So Tia, tell us your background and how this all came to be.
So I was first introduced to the stories of the great stories of the Bible in Hebrew school. So I was raised as a Jew, a Sephardic Jew. My father was born in Cairo and raised in Israel.
Wow.
And my mother is Welsh Irish Lutheran, and she converted to Judaism when she married my father. I won't go into too much detail, but they were married in a Reformed synagogue. So when I became of bar mitzvah age, I was being bar mitzvahed in a conservative synagogue. So I had to do mikvah. I basically had to convert in order to be recognized by the conservative sect. And as a matter of fact, my mother and sister also had to do mikvah, which was really interesting. So I have a very intimate experience with that. So I was raised just outside of Detroit, Michigan, in a melting pot of a community with all religions, all cultures. I mean, so many. Public high school. I started as a singer, doing musicals. Then I got sort of sidetracked into sports. And it wasn't until later in college, I went to the University of Michigan, that I got introduced to poetry and theater and Shakespeare in particular.
Yeah.
And that changed everything for me. But that seed that was planted in Hebrew school, studying the Bible, studying the great stories of Abraham and Isaac and the prophet Elijah, my namesake, and Moses and Noah. I mean, to name just a few. Those are some of the major players. But that's where the seed was planted, because those stories were so fascinating to me. And it was mostly the challenges those men faced, and women certainly. You know, Abraham and Sarah. I mean, that story of waiting for the annunciation of a birth of a child at 90 and 110. You know, so the patriarchs and the matriarchs of the faith, those the stories of what they went through and the remarkable lives they carved out, and in particular their relationship with God. And this is back in a time when God walked the earth, spoke. You know, this is, I mean, in the spirit, but I mean, spoke, had, open dialogue. And often the New Testament refers to that time, of the time when God was amongst men or amongst humankind. Anyway, I was moved by those stories, and they utterly changed me. And so I wanted to become a storyteller. So in college, I'm introduced to poetry. I'm introduced to Shakespeare. I go on to grad school. I go to the Yale School of Drama,
Wow.
a pretty renowned
Yeah.
conservatory program. And I spent 3 years, three of the greatest years of my life. Came out of there doing 52 productions in 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
In 3 years, I had only 1 week where I wasn't doing a play. And so it was a production heavy. Yeah, it was a fully immersive conservatory. That's where I became, cultivated a sense of artistry. And then I moved to New York. I kicked around for about 9-10 years. I did a lot of theater all over the country. I worked overseas. I worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company for a couple of years, went to London, toured England.
Wow.
Most major regional theaters in the US. I was on Broadway in a production called Metamorphoses, which won Mary Zimmerman a Tony. An amazing experience, and it was profound for me. Then I moved to LA with a movie called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You may have
I've heard of that. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time. So I've been doing this a long time, Steve. This is 30 years of a career. I know I don't look like I'm,
No, you actually don't.
Could have 30 years of a career under my belt, but thank you.
Yeah.
I'll accept. I accept.
There we go.
So I made my first movie, and I was hooked. And then I did some TV and film. Then we are led to the pandemic, where everything was upside down. I moved to Vail, Colorado. I had to do many other things to make a living, as everyone did. I had to redefine my role in my life, both professional and personal. And that was the beginning. The pandemic was the beginning, as I'm sure it is for many, many people, of the greatest transformation, the beginning of the greatest transformation of my life, that ultimately led me to The Chosen. It led me here before you now. And in between is a pretty interesting story. It's my story, so it's as interesting as people think it is, but it's my own, and we each have our own story that is remarkable and unique. But it actually started during the pandemic, when I became a high school teacher.
Really?
And
You
I started work
theater altogether, or were you a theater teacher in high school?
Nope. I left theater behind. I said, I need to make a bigger contribution. I need to be of greater service. I need to use everything that I've learned to a different end, towards something different, more purposeful, more meaningful. And don't get me wrong, I have great respect for artists and actors, and theater changed my life. It gave me an opportunity to develop my voice, and theater heals. I mean, it's very important. We're seeing that now, this need for people to heal and to cultivate not only an artistic way of looking at their own lives, but a way to commune in public, or not, in private, in a movie theater with their family and community, but a need to commune with the arts, there's a very profound function that that the arts fulfill.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's led me here. Now I do a lot. My life's work has changed. I work with young people today. I like working with people, being in relationships, having the kind of outreach. I'm an educator still. I travel with a one-man show around the country, which is a performance piece and has an educational component to it.
And we'll get to that in a minute. That's the one that's called the Mitzvah Project.
Yeah,
Am I saying
the
that
Mitzvah
right?
Project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to have you talk about that later because that's important to me too, to hear what you're doing on that. The whole it's now I don't really know the full extent of it, but it at least encompasses the Jewish experience in Auschwitz and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it has other things in it as well or not.
It does. Yeah.
Okay, so that'd be awesome. Well, let's talk about. Okay, so you somehow end up with the Chosen. You show up on day one. You are. Would you call yourself a God-fearer, by the way?
Yes.
To use that term, you were already a person who feared God.
Yes.
But you had no what's the word, existential belief in Jesus, that he was real or that he was important or what?
That's right. That's right. So great lead in, great question, Steve. I appreciate it. So ever since I was a small child, I had a deep sense of God. I sort of felt my way into faith, whatever that looked like. It wasn't important. It wasn't as important as what it felt like. So Hebrew school. I loved Hebrew school. I loved all the discussion and conversation about God. It was an idea. It was a feeling.
Yeah.
But a feeling I wanted to pursue, and I felt like it compelled me forward. But my spiritual journey started when I was after I was bar mitzvahed, and during that whole process where I was told by certain sects of the religion that I wasn't Jewish, or I wasn't considered Jewish enough, or that I was too much this or too little that.
Oh my.
And yeah. And
that went on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not welcome at certain tables and not invited to others. And so that set me. I thank God for it. It was a blessing because it set me on the journey that still continues today. But I was told, by extended family members that we don't believe in Jesus, and that was it. And I said, and I always, I was a curious kid. I said, well, what does that mean? We don't believe it. Jesus existed. He walked the planet. His teachings are there. No, we don't believe he was the Son of God. And so flash forward to last year, my baptism in the Sea of Galilee on the set of The Chosen. I look over to, okay.
Oh, there it is right there, huh?
Yeah. I look over to Jonathan. We're in the makeup chair in the morning, Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus. And I say, this is before I was baptized. I say, I'm developing a very personal relationship with Jesus for the first time. And Jonathan says, it's not for the first time. He says, you're just remembering.
Interesting.
And he was right. Because as I pastor Bobby Kennemer there of Riot Ministries, a small church in Terrell, Texas, he has been my right-hand Roman soldier. I have two of them for the last 3 years, and I didn't know until last year that he was actually a pastor.
Oh, really?
So we became fast friends. We started to talk about all things God and Jesus, and he. I came to his church. I went to his church to speak the dynamic word, became really close with his community, really close with his family. Then I asked him if he would baptize me. And I'll go back because there's some things that need to sort of be discussed to lead up to it. But what I realized as, he held me in the water, and what's funny is I said, how long do people usually go under. And he's like, it's very quick, just a couple seconds. And I was like, hey, do you think you can hold me under for longer?
Oh, really? Are
Oh
you
yeah.
serious? You want to
Oh
get
yeah.
a good, clean dunk? No,
I
no
was like,
question.
look, I'm a man of a certain age. It's been a long time. I feel like I'm a little late to the party. Maybe I need a little extra time under the water. And
Wow.
he laughed, but he did. He held me in just a little longer. I couldn't tell. It's very
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
But when he brought me up, he said later on, people were getting nervous around me that I was holding you in too long.
Yeah.
And so I brought you up, probably more quickly than you wanted. But what I'm saying is I felt that I had been walking with Jesus since I was a child. And that feeling of, like I said, feeling my way into faith as a child, as a lonely child, isolated much of my childhood, alienated, no father present, wanting so much to be fathered. I realize now, fathered by God, and I always was, but Jesus was there. The feeling was, I firmly believe in my heart, it was, the Christ consciousness. It was the heart of Jesus. So it felt very familiar, and it felt like a natural step in Jesus allowed me my relationship with Jesus allowed me to become fathered by God and closer to knowing God. And so, and now looking back, I see, a practicing Jew. I still consider myself a Jew, and Jesus is my rabbi. I consider myself now, I don't get too much into titles and names, but
Yeah.
I say I was baptized into discipleship,
Good.
last year because
Well, that's kind of like especially in the Jewish community, you say, when did you come to faith? It would be it's kind of like, it's almost like a living, breathing
yeah,
learning. I mean, disciples were disciples. They were learners, you
yeah.
know?
And I feel very much like like my journey has been one of a pilgrim
Yeah.
slash disciple. And so it took me, Steve, from, being a practicing Jew and trying to understand what being a responsible practicing Jew meant. And then taking a deep dive into Kabbalah. So when I was in LA, I spent 5 years studying Kabbalah on the leadership training track, and it completely opened my heart. Jewish mysticism, I don't know how much you know about it, but
Not much, really.
well, a couple of the things that impressed me most were that the Kabbalistic perspective on converting, meaning, a conversion, meaning you choose
Okay.
for yourself. You make a choice to enter into faith.
Okay.
Had a huge impact on me, because I had always been one of those people who waited. I was waiting for God to speak to me like he did to Abraham, right?
Yeah.
Ever since I was a 13-year-old, right? So I'm waiting, I'm moving through life, and I'm waiting for the messaging, waiting to be spoken to. And that, a light bulb, again, under the water, a little longer than usual. And I come up, and the light bulbs, I mean, the lightning was in the sky. The skies opened up. It started to rain.
It
But
really
also,
did. It really did.
yes,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a coincidence, is it?
I don't want to, make it sound too important, but for me it
Well, I mean,
was,
I think
you
to
know.
me, you're talking to the ElijahStreams family, who would see that as not coincidental at all, not coincidental at all. So that's
Yeah,
kind of the space we're in, where we understand Jesus is acting within his supernatural capabilities 24/7, 365. He never does anything that's not really a miracle. So,
yeah,
he doesn't
I
do
agree.
stuff. He does
I
supernatural
agree.
stuff.
But we have to be able to see and
Yeah.
hear, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then we have to have the courage to choose. You know,
Yeah.
it's in the choosing that we are chosen. So I feel very much, and the title of this segment is God Talked, right?
Yeah.
So the journey began with, and I see it in the tagline up here. It says, "God spoke to me during The Chosen, and my life changed forever." Elijah Alexander. So it's my first week on set, season 2 of The Chosen.
Okay.
And the pandemic has happened. We're in the pandemic, deeply in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 500 extras on set wearing masks, you know, up until Dallas yells, "Here we play," or action. It was amazing. It was one of 5 productions worldwide, you know, doing anything. And the pandemic hits. I'm teaching high school and trying to get my shifts filled so I can go to Goshen, Utah, to shoot The Chosen. And we're shooting. It's my first week. I haven't met Jonathan Rumi yet. We're shooting the Sermon on the Mount scene. And if you recall, the Sermon on the Mount scene isn't so much about Jesus delivering that amazing speech. It's about how it's landing on each of his disciples.
Yeah.
So we hear a lot of that sermon in voiceover, and then we cut to the disciples' reactions to certain lines that are particular for them and their journeys, right? Okay, so Atticus, character I play, in disguise, hood up over the head. I'm in the back of the crowd. I'm standing next to Gaius, who's on horseback, and I'm observing, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. Atticus is an investigator. He's there to observe. I'm fully present and just watching. I see Jonathan. They're still setting up the lights. I see Jonathan come out into the crowd, and I see him start to address each one of those disciples, one at a time. And he's about a foot from each, and he's whispering something to them. And I can't, of course, I'm too far away to hear, but I can watch, I can see. And I'm taking note of it all. I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's saying. Then he goes to George, he goes to Noah, he goes to, George, who plays John, Noah, who plays Andrew, he goes to Shahar, who plays Peter. He went to about 4 disciples, and then he starts walking toward me.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, what does he even know I'm here? Like, I'm in disguise. I'm in the back of the crowd. I'm not, what would he have to say to me? I'm Atticus.
Wow.
I'm adversarial. I'm a representative of Rome. He starts walking toward me, and I'm watching him, and I'm getting more and more uncomfortable as he's approaching me. And look, you all know, just in watching The Chosen, how Jonathan Rumi channels the living spirit of Jesus Christ in his work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so he's the embodiment of Christ himself. And yes, he's an actor and an artist, but he's a co-creator, and he has completely opened his heart and embodied the living spirit, the living and loving spirit. So he's walking toward me, and I feel it. I sense it. I haven't even met him, like not in the makeup chair, not at the craft services table, nothing. I haven't met the guy. So this is my introduction to both Jonathan and Jesus, as it turns out. So he's walking toward me. He stops about a foot from me, and he looks at me deeply into my eyes, and he says, "There's something for you here."
Oh, my.
And this beatific, bright, luminescent visage, this countenance of his, simple, and it made me very uncomfortable. And when I get uncomfortable, I make jokes. You've seen The Spy Who Fed Me. Who fed me? You've seen The Spy Who Fed Me. I make jokes, and that's not because I'm uncomfortable, but that's, I make jokes because I've developed a sense of humor as a defense mechanism. So I started making jokes. I'm like, oh yeah, there's lots for me here. You know, there's a great spread at craft services, and the trailers are pretty nice. Take a look at this costume. I mean, I think I got the best costume of the bunch. Unflappable, unshakable. He moves closer into me.
No way, really?
He wraps his hands around my shoulders, and he leans in and he says, no, there's something for you here as well. And Steve, that set me on the path that continues today, but that had its first chapter culmination in me being baptized into discipleship last year.
This is the first day, the first scene you were in? Are you?
Yeah.
Can I just ask? Go ahead.
The second. I mean,
But
first week, second scene. First
okay,
week.
and then was that on his script to say?
No.
It was
This was
not in
off
the
camera.
script.
Off
Off
camera.
camera.
All off camera. No cameras are rolling. This is preparation.
Oh my goodness.
This is Jonathan, you know, at work, and I will testify that it was Jesus at work. Look, we all have moments where we're invited, and I won't go back and harbor on this, but it was the pandemic, and then it was a series of setbacks, pitfalls, injuries, a desperate time for me, where I started taking real responsibility for my life. And I started asking, I started choosing. And as soon as that started to happen, things unfolded, revealed themselves to me. And here, Christ revealing himself to me through Jonathan Rumi, and God working through Christ as mediator, right? So this is like the mantra, one of my mantras of life now. There's something for you here.
Wow.
And so since then, I have spent my podcast, everything, all the work I'm doing. I'm writing a film now that we're going into production in the new year. Everything that I do now has that at the core, at the center of it. There's something for you here, so that I can make it's part of my job now to make other people feel the way I felt. So there were other moments. Jonathan and I have become very close friends since then.
Would be. My
And
goodness.
yeah. And
you guys must have talked about that moment later.
What's interesting is we didn't talk about it until much later.
Really?
Yeah. But it just opened up my heart up to a sense of wonder, a sense of possibility, with a deep sense of curiosity that was afforded to me because of the role I was playing of Atticus, right?
Yeah.
So last year, season 6, we're shooting in Matera, Italy, the third oldest city in the world. And there have been a couple more moments like that that I can't share with you because we haven't seen season 6 yet.
Right.
But moments off camera that Elijah and Atticus, they're sort of one and the same now, they're aligned, have had with Jesus through Jonathan.
That was you had to know that I was going to ask you about the possible parallel, right? Everyone must ask that question of you.
Yeah.
How were you? Because the parts that I've seen, the parts that you've shown, although I don't know if the part that I saw in a clip was supposed to be for the public because we didn't show it today, but where he's coming in there, because I haven't finished season 5 yet.
Oh goodness, Steve, what are you waiting for?
Well, I got through 4, and then I had
TV.
some health things going on, so I didn't.
I'm
so we're
sorry.
going to jump in, and we'll probably do back to back binge watching now that I'm into it. But I think that part scared me a little bit because it was the last thing I saw was he was going into Jerusalem, and I thought, oh no, now the painful part. I don't know if I want to see the painful part, but what was I going to say? But anyway, there's a scene that I saw today on the clip that you sent that had him expressing belief. It wasn't out now to Jesse. In fact, should we play that clip? But I don't know if it was fake because I didn't see that episode.
Oh, that wasn't an expression of belief. That was an expression of possibility. Like when he brings up the Messiah, that he's the Messiah. Yeah. I mean, this was a pivotal moment in Atticus's journey.
Was Atticus was telling the truth in that scene?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, should we play the one with Jesse, that clip where he meets him on the steps of the?
Yeah, I know what it is. So what I ask is, because Jesse's the one who says he must be the Messiah, referring to Jesus.
Yes.
After he healed him in the pool of Bethesda, right?
Yeah.
Atticus is doing his job, but when he hears Messiah, there's it strikes a chord.
Okay.
That's what you see in the scene.
Okay.
A chord of possibility. Like, what is it? Is that even possible? Could he be what they've been waiting for?
So that was what. I didn't
wasn't
have context around it, but he was beginning. That did something. That triggered something.
Yeah. What it does is it opens him up. It's about his heart opening up to possibilities. So Atticus starts dwelling in possibility because ultimately he doesn't know. But when he meets Jesus, everything changes. And we don't see that. And we don't see that.
The question then generally, so this is sort of generally rather than specific to that scene necessarily, but did you kind of, did it almost weird you out that as your own heart was opening up, you were getting the scenes to play it? Was it like parallel? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't want to force you to give it. I'm not asking you to give any.
No. Look. There are obvious. Atticus plays a function. The role of Atticus is different from Elijah's journey.
Yeah.
But what Atticus has done, it's afforded me the opportunity to have a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. For Elijah to have a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Running sort of simultaneous with Atticus's journey with the relationship with Jesus. Yeah. Although they're different, obviously, because I'm beholden to the script and to the director and to the to playing a particular role. I represent Rome. There are certain things that I have to do. But what Atticus did is it opened me up to learning and experiencing not only Christ's teaching, but because of Jonathan's careful attention, I'm able to really, I'm having a direct, in real time and space, I'm having a direct confrontation with him, with Jesus.
Yeah.
So
that's there's almost no words because nobody has that experience ever, that the guy that you're doing a part with is playing the part of the creator of the universe.
Yeah.
And you're getting to know him. It's so weird. When you and Jonathan did finally talk about that, did he have some interesting things to say what happened with him that day, or?
Nope. He didn't say much. He didn't even remember it.
Are you serious? So he's prophesying basically.
So this is him, like I said, embodying Christ, and he was giving me something, in that moment. I was going to say, another moment like that happened last season on the set of the crucifixion on Golgotha in Matera, Italy. And we're in between, this isn't any kind of spoiler, but again, we're in between scenes. They're not filming. They're setting up where everyone's on a break. So they're doing another setup. And Jonathan is at the base of the cross, resting. He's hunched over, exhausted. We're all heat stroked, exhausted, long hours out with the exposure of the sun, and obviously handling this material. And Atticus is there throughout, watching, observing. And I'm standing there, and everyone is feeling for Jonathan, the weight he's carrying, the
Can't even
spiritual and emotional weight, and in addition to the physical challenges. So I'm just, holding him in prayer, and I'm watching and breathing, being present, breathing through the moment. And he looks over at me. He looks up and he says, he waves me over. And I'm about 20 feet from him. And he's sitting at the base of the cross, and he waves me over. And I come in, and now I know. I'm not making jokes. I learned my lesson,
Yeah.
So I'm like, Jesus called me over. He's got something to say. I'm going to listen. I'm coming. And I move over to him, and I kneel down, and he grabs my arm, my forearm, and I grab his, and he says, I'm doing this for you as well.
Oh my God.
I love you, Atticus.
He called you Atticus.
Yeah, Atticus. Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm doing this for you as well. And Jesus was. He's the one who said, it's not enough to love thy neighbor as thyself. You must also, I tell you, you must also love your enemy.
Yeah.
And Atticus represents the enemy, perhaps. I don't think
Yeah.
Jesus looks at him that way. But I don't think Jesus has enemies. That's the whole point. He's trying to change the perception of that idea. But it doesn't matter. Neighbor, enemy, whatever title you want to give, you love people. You
Yeah,
love
I mean,
people, all people.
There's that scripture that says God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself. God so loved the world. He meant all the people in the world. You still had to choose, which is to your point. You have to choose. But God comes through it only from a position of love to the last second. Appealing.
Yeah. But in the choosing, Steve, I really feel like it's choosing to be fathered, choosing love, choosing to be a beloved son and daughter of God. And that requires us to do something. So real quick, I was baptized last year on Sat, as you know, and Mother Olga, who's
we have a
saint.
picture of that. I wanted to ask you the story about. Can we put that photo up? There's Mother Olga.
There she
Tell
is.
us that story.
This amazing living saint of a woman, and she really is. So she is Jonathan's spiritual mother, and she just happened to be there that week. It was my last week of shooting for season 6, and I had been woken up for a week at 3 a.m. every morning by not a voice, but a feeling.
Yeah. And
I was compelled, that feeling was, I have to become baptized, and I've got to do it in a public way. And I got to be honest, this made me uncomfortable. First of all, I didn't want to disrupt production, but I had this strong feeling. Being baptized is about taking responsibility and committing your life and your heart to the devotion of God and doing it in Jesus' name. And that was the place where it all began for me, there on that set with Jonathan/Jesus telling me there's something for you here. And so I felt not obligated, but responsible. I felt like it was my duty to do that, not for myself, but for others, to encourage and empower and embolden and bolster others who feel like they're in the shadows. They're not seen, not heard, not validated, not approved, anointed, and appointed. But there's something for them here. There's something for everyone here. And for me to do that, you know, go into the discomfort, to embrace it,
Yeah.
you know, and make it, you know, I didn't want to make a scene of myself. It ended up being a scene, you know, it was everyone in
Well,
production came
I
out.
suppose there's an argument to be made that baptism itself is meant to be a scene before everybody. I suppose
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the thing that you've already pointed out to me already
yeah.
is that you not only wanted it seen, you wanted it seen long time underwater, which didn't feel that long to you. But, I mean, you wanted this thing to stick. You know, it's probably the closest equivalent of that is that when we went to Israel, we've been there a bunch of times, but I've got baptized in the Jordan River twice, not because I needed it.
Ah,
It was just a symbolic thing. Jesus was baptized in these waters. So
yeah.
I did it. That would be the
How
closest thing.
beautiful.
I wanted to make sure that it, because I was a little boy when I got baptized, 10 or something like that. And I wanted to make sure it was heartfelt. It was like a second choosing, if you will. But anyway, go
Yeah.
ahead with your
No,
story.
that's beautiful, but you're right on. And congratulations. And I mean, that's it's meant to be a public, to be witnessed by the
Yeah,
public,
yeah,
but it's more for the public witnessing that than ourselves. It doesn't mean it's not about us. It is very much about us. But for me, it's where the real work began, because now I had to take responsibility for the life that I've been gifted and granted by God. And also, we've talked about the choosing. I was choosing to be chosen,
yeah,
choosing to be chosen. You know, it doesn't make me special. It makes me actively involved as a participant in the sorrows and rejoicings of the world. It puts me in a place of initiation,
yeah,
activation.
yeah,
Yes. So, and it's changed everything. I mean, I can't begin to tell you the abundance and the challenges, both,
yeah,
but the
both,
great,
right?
great abundance that has come into my life and opportunities to minister, to spread the gospel, to make connections, to spread love and unity and awareness, and the messaging. So Olga's there. She's there because she's Jonathan's spiritual advisor. There she is. And she has an amazing, amazing personal story of conversion herself. She converted to Catholicism and was disowned by her entire family for
Oh
doing
dear.
it.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
she understands the cost,
Yeah.
right? Marcus Aurelius has an amazing thing. He's one of my greatest philosophical teachers, but he says that nothing can conquer a man who already knows the cost. And so when
Great line. Great.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So when when a man or a woman, when a human being, when a person knows who they are, there's nothing that they can't endure, any challenge. Who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Right? So there's Olga, and she's sacrificed a great deal to be who she is. And she's there, and we instantly have a connection. She approaches me. I'm waiting there. I'm finishing off my last day of shooting. And she approaches me out of nowhere. Can I pray for you? Can I pray for you? And I said, please. And I sat down, and she said a prayer for me. And then I said, in that moment right there that's pictured, I said, so I'm compelled to be baptized here tomorrow. It was the next day. This was the second to my last day of shooting. And her face lit up.
Really?
And she gave her full support, said another blessing, grabbed me there. That's when it happened. She grabbed me in closer. And she told me that there will be a cloud of witnesses. My ancestors will all be there, and they will applaud and support and welcome me. And I will be a child again. I'll be innocent. I'll be reborn. I'll be reawakened, and it will start me on a life's journey that I never expected. And she was right. And so she ended up taking my hand in hers and walking me to the water, handing me off to, right there, the Sea of Galilee, handing me off to Pastor Bobby, who held me under for 18 minutes. But so she texted me. I'm looking back through texts. We have now she's become my spiritual mother. I'm blessed to
Nice.
say.
Very nice.
And we have a relationship that I cherish. And so I'm looking back through our text messaging, and she says, I say, I like to share with her things that I'm doing in service of God, and how I'm furthering, how I'm activating and actively participating in my life's work. And I like to share things with her. There's a part of me, the child part of me, that very much wants Mother Olga to be proud of me.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a wise position too, because you honor those who are your mother and father. Honor your mother and father. And then you made her your mother. Yeah. Beautiful.
So
man.
if you see that picture, no, you're absolutely right. And you know, like I said, I didn't have an active father in my life, and my mother, bless her, she's, it's different. It's just different. I didn't have a strong spiritual.
No, I was the same way.
Upbringing.
I totally relate to that. This Jesus, who are my mother and my father? They do the will of my Father in heaven. But I mean, his mother did, of course. But at a moment in time, it was the most important thing who was on doing the will. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. Yeah.
No, you're right. So, and it was also at that moment, Steve, during that baptism, when I emerged, I realized that from that point forward, I have been fathered by God. John Eldridge wrote this amazing book, Fathered by God.
Well, yeah, I've seen that book. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I recommend it. It just hit home in so many ways for so many different reasons. We could spend a whole hour on that. Yeah. But I realized that was the beginning of me asking, me making myself available and asking, not waiting for, but asking, doing the choosing to be fathered by God. So in that picture behind Mother Olga, there's a tall soldier, and that's Pastor Bobby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, is this all in the Dallas area or somewhere else?
Yep, Dallas. This is Dallas.
Okay.
Midlothian, Texas.
Okay.
So I'm looking back at these text messages, and I say, I was sharing something with Mother Olga, about the podcast that I'm doing, and going to high schools and working with young people, and having holding conversation about each person's particular relationship with God, because it is a very subjective thing and a very personal thing. And I said, I just wanted to share some of the things I'm doing with her. Yeah. And I said to her, I think you'll be proud.
Nice.
And so she answered. This is how she answered. And I just saw this today. This is months old, but I keep her text chain right there in front, right there on my phone. And I said, I think you would be proud. And so she answers, perfection doesn't consist in understanding God's will, but in doing it.
Wow.
And you, Elijah Francis, have been doing that. And you have made the Lord proud of you as well.
Man, doesn't that feel good, to have your mother in the Lord? There's nothing like that. The approval.
I mean, I never heard that from my earthly father.
Yeah.
And so to hear it from anyone who is a parent figure, it was pretty meanful.
Amazing. Let me ask you a couple questions about, I don't know how your time is. Do you have more time to go over some other things?
Absolutely. There's absolutely more.
I want to ask about, I want to ask just a few minutes on the sort of the overall working, because you said it's a very freeing environment and you got believers and non-believers. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the whole dynamic of one or two of the of the main players, I think Zebedee, I can't think of his real name, but Zebedee comes to the Lord too.
Yep.
He had, and like, how does that play in where half of your staff, of the staff there, are not believers? And what's that all like? And do you have to be on some sort of best behavior? Is everybody just who they are? Or how does that work out?
That's a great question. It's an exceptional environment. There's no talk about God. It's everyone is left to have their own particular relationship with God.
Okay.
And everyone is welcome. Everyone's welcome to the table. And because everyone's invested in the story we're telling. So it doesn't matter what they personally believe, because there's a belief beneath all of it. Maybe it's not beneath. There's a belief that's at the foreground.
Yeah.
And that's a belief in telling this story. And so each of us have a particular role and function to play in the telling of that story. So their personal beliefs don't matter, that are really irrelevant, because
that's actually good to hear.
Yeah, we're a group of artists.
Yeah, we always, but you know, we have, well, let's say it's a work environment. Of course, I've worked in both the world, you know, where there's non-Christians, and that can be a brutal thing. When you work among Christians, that's a little better, but it can be even more brutal if you're on opposite sides of a doctrine or.
That's right.
So it's like, it's almost easier in the world because everybody there will either totally hate you or they'll look up to you. They'll say, I respect you. I don't believe it, but I respect you. You know, yeah, I was kind of curious how that all played. And did those that were unsaved, did they come and attend the baptism too, or they just go their own way? And it was just like.
Most of the cast weren't there because they were wrapped. So this was
already wrapped.
Yeah, there were very few. Actually, there were, I don't think, any cast members. It was actually comparatively a pretty private thing. You know, the production staff came out. A lot of the producers, Dallas was there, obviously, the assistant director, Adam Drake, you know, the cinematographer, Atticus. There were a handful of extras who still had to work, you know, the rest of that week, that hung around and witnessed. And it was amazing, but it was not it wasn't a full cast thing. It wasn't an invitation kind of thing. It was a spur of the moment, you know, improvised. You know, Leila gave me a robe. I thought, well, I might as well do it in a robe, you know.
Yeah,
and
well,
so
why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it. So the symbolism and the ritual of it was meaningful, but it was a relatively private thing. Yeah, like it's interesting, Steve. It's a great question. When you're dealing with a series about faith, all that is required is that each person brings their open heart to it, you know. And as actors, I've played, you know, characters that are so far removed from who Elijah is.
Yeah,
I mean, that you wonder, oh, how can you play? So, I mean, you asked, how can this, you know, guy who seems pretty affable play Atticus, who's you know, kind of an intimidating guy? We can't judge as actors. We can't judge the characters we play. We have to do our best to bring who we are to that.
I was trying to remember that's the antagonist, I think. And you would talk, there was a clip where you said, I love playing the antagonist. You just kind of like get off in a good way. Like almost the way I took it is you so enjoy the part. There's that in the Chariots of Fire, the guy that movie, he says, I feel his pleasure when I run, something like that. Do you play this part of an antagonist so purposefully that you almost feel God's pleasure when you do it?
I feel that when I'm, like I said, bringing my full heart open and being of service to something greater, which is this story, God is well pleased.
Yeah.
And so that requires me to do whatever those writers write for me, and it might not be something Elijah agrees with, but I'm going to do it. And in doing it, I believe that I am faithfully being a servant of God.
Yeah.
Because
That's really,
because I'm that's the gift was given to me, granted to me on loan, right? From
yeah.
God. And so now it's actually changed the kind of projects I want to do in my future.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
going
because
more towards the faith, and in fact,
yeah,
along that line, we should. There's two things I want to be sure we cover today. One is the project. What's it called again? We talked to the high schoolers.
the
That
Mitzvah
one,
Project.
Mitzvah project, and I want to talk
Yeah.
about the movie, The Brave.
Okay. Daniel,
Daniel. Why did I say that? Why did I say The Brave?
the brave.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, it
Daniel.
requires some bravery.
Yeah,
It
maybe. I
requires
don't know why that
Daniel's
came out of my
bravery.
mouth. That was just weird. Okay, so what you want to cover first? If we
Let's go into Daniel the movie, because it follows the conversation we've been having, because playing King Nebuchadnezzar, who's the greatest Gentile convert
yeah,
into faith, is just, I mean, you can't there, you realize there is a grand design to everything. There's an integrity to the writing of the Bible. That the Old Testament is revealed in the New Testament in the Old. And this movie, the book of Daniel, it's based on the book of Daniel, is very revelatory of that. How there's a real integrity that goes into the grand design of the Bible, the Old and New Testament together as the Bible. And to play now, so Atticus affords me the opportunity to observe and experience Jesus.
yeah,
Elijah goes on a spiritual journey that sort of begins with his baptism. Elijah's baptism, not Atticus's.
yeah,
Atticus will not be baptized in the chosen.
yeah.
I can tell you that much.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler. But
Okay.
but then the very next project I do is I play the greatest Gentile convert, the emperor of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar, who is through being chastened and being judged and being advised by the advocate of Daniel, he is moved to feel his way into faith and to accept God, and not only God, but Jesus Christ. Because what you've heard the story of the fiery furnace.
Yeah.
We all know the story of 3 friends going in bound and a 4th man appearing in the fire, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Nebuchadnezzar also is the only Gentile to have scribed a chapter of the Bible.
Did he do a chapter himself? Huh?
Yes,
I mean,
chapter 4.
wow.
Chapter 4 of the book of Daniel was written entirely by Nebuchadnezzar, and it's about his spiritual journey from being a pagan emperor and ruler of the greatest empire that the world has yet known.
Oh, has yet known, huh?
Yeah, has yet known.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean back then when Babylon was thriving.
I see what you're saying. Got it.
Yeah, no, there were plenty, that came since.
Yeah.
Alexander, the Persians, and then Alexander the Great, the Greeks, the Romans.
Yeah.
But up until that point, he was the king of the world, and he moved from being a pagan, an idol worshiper, to being a God-fearing, beloved son of the Lord. And so it's an amazing journey. And the fact that Elijah, got to take that, I was able to bring so much of my own heart and spiritual perspective to that role. So it was the most freeing, but it was only because of Atticus. So Atticus, like I said, I got introduced to Jesus through Atticus, afforded me that opportunity. Elijah moves forward and ends up playing King Nebuchadnezzar. I mean, what a gift.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
it's a
why don't
gift.
we show that
Yep.
clip that you sent in of that
Okay.
is this the official trailer or is
This is a
just
trailer.
okay, so go ahead and play that if you guys hearing me again. Okay, here we go.
Daniel is my angel. He will help me. They will bow down to my statue as a show of loyalty and duty to their one true king.
Daniel, is this it?
It's only the beginning. We will put our faith to the test before the entire kingdom. Even for this magnificent image, we will not bend a knee. We will never bend a knee. Jeremiah, Daniel, teach them how to pray. And do not be afraid. The words of God to watch over our people. When you wake in a foreign land, it will speak to you.
Now this comes out in September, is that right?
Yeah, mid-September.
And how do they do that? Does it hit all the screens or does it hit a certain number or how did they decide on that?
It's always based on the distribution deal, but we got a good one, and it'll be a nice chunk. 800 to 1,200 screens nationwide.
Good. And
Yeah.
this was shot in India, is that right?
It was shot in India. That's right.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that would save money. How's that working? Did everybody have to translate, or did they all speak English?
There was a learning curve there. No, most Indians speak English.
Yeah.
So
okay.
there wasn't so much. Well, when we got to the north, into the more remote locations, there were less Indians who spoke English. But for the most part, they spoke English, and they were a Mumbai-based, big city-based crew.
Okay.
It was amazing. It was humbling.
And that's all shot now. It's already in the can, so to speak.
Yeah, it's in the can. They're just getting a picture lock now. We're going to release it in September, and as we speak, we are currently writing the second of the trilogy, and I've been brought on board to co-write.
Wow.
And to co-produce.
Is this your first big co-write like that?
Yes.
Or what?
Yes.
Wow, congratulations. That seems like that would be a very, whatever the word would be, a compliment and affirmation to your gifting. So yeah, when you got the Lord's favor, it's like when you choose, all the doors open, don't they? When you start choosing.
Yes.
And then the warfare starts as well. So we know
that. Yep. It's happening simultaneously to all the prosperity and abundance. You get the challenges, but that's what I signed up for.
And does it look like now the track the Lord has you on is towards more faith-based or family-based? Is it more probably biblical stuff or just family faith-based, or what would you say? Too pigeonholing it.
Well, it's not. I mean, I feel like the faith-based space is expanding.
Okay.
In a way that I'm happy to be a part of, but I'm not limiting myself to only being in that genre. But what I now, the decisions I make now are really, is there something I can contribute to this? Yeah. Is there something I can learn? Is the messaging behind this story something I want to get behind?
That's good.
And when you're a young actor coming up in the world, I said yes to everything and anything. I didn't.
Well, I didn't even ask that question. I was about to ask you. The starving artist cliche comes to mind, where people will just throw stuff at you and see if you'll just take it. But you did in the early days just take what was available. But it sounds like you're picking and choosing very carefully. If I'm reading right.
Yes, absolutely. So the starving artist, I was very much that, but it wasn't. I never made decisions based on financial gain. And
Yeah, that's the wise
that,
thing.
well, that actually put me in a hole that I've been, spent years getting out of, because I've never been motivated by money. It was always, for me, what's the role? What kind of life do I get to live? Because with each new role, you get to experience a different life, many lifetimes in one. That's part of the allure, right? The attraction of being an actor. The problem arises when something like the pandemic hits, and you don't have any more work, and you've spent your entire young adult life valuing yourself and creating an identity around your work. So what happens when you have no more work to give you a sense of value and self-worth?
Yeah.
You crash. You don't know who you are. And I didn't know who I was, what I liked, who Elijah was, what he believed, because I'd said yes so long and for so many years, yes, to escaping who I was and embracing someone else. And then I was stuck face to face with confronting.
Well, it sounds like what's the word?
Truth.
That he bushwhacked you. The Lord himself said, "Watch this, Gabe," and then suddenly you're on the set of The Chosen. He already knew you were a God-fearer, and he just the second week, first scene, everything changes. Second scene or whatever that was. So that's amazing. Well, listen, let's talk about the project. It's called, what'd you call that project?
The Mitzvah Project.
Mitzvah Project. I had written it down there. Yeah, and tell the mitzvah. There's 613 mitzvahs. That's like a priestly, right? They wore these pomegranates on the bottom of their robes, and that's
right.
Some symbolic of all that. The laws and statutes. Is it the laws and statutes of the Hebrew people, or what?
Regulations,
Regulations,
ways of being in the world. In this respect, it refers to, like, the casual definition is of a mitzvah is a good deed, right?
Okay.
So it's ironic that this is called the Mitzvah Project, because it involves 2 mercy killings that are considered mitzvahs, because it's a half-Jewish German officer in the Wehrmacht who's at the center of the performance piece. It basically tells the story of 2 characters colliding during the darkest hours of the Holocaust. One is a half-Jewish officer in the Wehrmacht, Christoph Rosenberg, who is trying to hide his Jewishness. And this is something I didn't know when I first went into this project, but there were 200,000 or so half-Jewish or Jewish soldiers who had Jewish blood somewhere in their family line.
Okay.
200,000 in the late 30s who were serving. When the Nazis put the Jews, in the crosshairs of their aiming rifles, they deported to work camps, to concentration camps, killed a lot of them. But there were 2,000 or so, because they were of value to the German war machine, that were kept on as junior and senior officers. So this tells the story of one of those. And there's a great book called Hitler's Jewish Soldiers, which is just mind-blowing to think, to just consider having that kind of conflict. So Christoph Rosenberg, a senior officer in the Wehrmacht, intercedes on the part of a Jewish mother who's being tortured by a Nazi, tormented and tortured and slowly killed. And he ends up killing her to put her out of her suffering and to end the torture. This we realize later, when Shmuel Boykowitz, who is a Jew from Poland, from Bialystok, he ends up being taken to Auschwitz and made the local surgeon of the Jews. Christoph is tortured, sent to the concentration camp after the higher-ups discover what he's done. In addition to the mercy killing, he kills, Christoph Rosenberg, the officer, kills the Nazi officer who was tormenting and torturing her. So he kills another Nazi officer in the process. The German higher-ups send him to the concentration camp. They torture him. They put him through the ringer. And then he ends up in the arms of Shmuel Boykowitz, who's a prisoner there, a captive, not a prisoner, but a captive. And he ends up performing a mercy killing on that officer, the half-Jewish German officer. So the mitzvah in regards to this is the mitzvahs, the good deeds, are 2 mercy killings,
Wow.
which, is hard spiritually to wrap your head around, but given the context, you can understand it. So the Mitzvah Project starts with this story, 20 minutes. Then we move into an educational portion of the program where we talk about why do we demonize the other? And this happens all over our country, high schools, universities, even before high school, because of someone's religion or the color of their skin, what they believe, how they identify, who they choose to love. Young kids are harassed, they're bullied. The teenage suicide rate in this country is off the charts. People are feeling desperate and alienated and isolated. So this program really, it starts with this. It's a Holocaust-themed performance piece, but then it branches out and opens up to include everyone. It's basically an educational program about prejudice, discrimination, anti-Semitism. Why do all of these things exist when we're all human beings, all in the same boat? And it's really a program promoting love and unity and connection, and a shared faith. Faith, because faith in God, as I believe, is subjective. It's subjective. It's personal. And so then the third portion of this program is a Q&A, which is my favorite part because I get to talk to these young people.
Nice,
and they open up because I create a safe environment. I'm an outsider. I'm not a parent. I'm not part of the faculty. I'm someone brought in who's an actor and a performer and an educator, and I just open it up. And I've had some of the most amazing conversations with these young people.
What is the most a couple of the interesting questions that you loved fielding that they ask you so someone stands up at a microphone and says, "What about this?" or "What?" How does that work?
Yeah. There are young Hispanic people saying that their neighbors have been taken from their homes by ICE, and they're made to feel harassed and bullied and made to feel like they don't belong here, when they're good, God-fearing people, right? Okay. And I'm bullied at school because I don't believe this or don't believe that. There's someone in the high school drawing swastikas on the bathroom mirror and going around and saying Heil Hitler. Someone harassing another person because they identify a certain way, and choose to love, have their own particular brand of sexuality, whatever that may be, not accepted for some reason, and bullied and harassed because of it. Yeah. And a lot of the administration, the facilities themselves, the schools, don't have programs in place for that to deal with it. So it happens, and then a lot of these kids don't come from broken homes or don't have the kind of spiritual foundation that would help throughout. Yeah, nothing. But also with the internet and the globalization of the AI and technology, kids are distanced now from each other and having relationship, dealing with conflict, right? Entering into conversation as a way of de-escalating conflict, talking about things, sharing your feelings, getting to know each other's stories.
How do you bring? I mean, maybe you're starting to answer it right there, but I was going to ask, how do you bring peace to these kids who are on the mic saying this out loud? How do you bring something to the group. Obviously you did, or you wouldn't be being invited to all these places. So
Yeah.
what do you do?
I tell them to love themselves. We have to first love ourselves. We have to know that we are seen, heard, validated, and approved by God. We are all God's children.
Yeah.
And then we have to go through a period of knowing, getting to know ourselves, and that means getting to know our hearts. We have to get right with God. And again, I don't proselytize. I just bring my open heart.
You do mention get right with God. You'll say that
Yes.
kind of a phrase. Okay.
Yes. I say it's important to be in right relationship with God, and
Okay.
whatever that means to you.
Okay.
But this is something I know and I believe, because I was floundering as a young person. I was driven by my ego, my desire for gratification. I had to go through that period of training my mind to obey my heart, and that involved being in right relationship with God. I didn't have someone like me standing in front of an assembly saying that. I wish I did, because I didn't know things were possible. I didn't know that I was loved by God. And so I try to do that, and I try to instill a sense of, I try to encourage these young people to embrace the sense of responsibility that they have, to understand that the words we say in this lifetime are finite. We have to choose our words carefully. Words are part of our creative power. Words and deeds, right? That's how we're judged, by what we do and say. And so spirituality, one of the best definitions for me has been of that term, is taking responsibility for what happens to you. A sense of spirituality is taking responsibility for what happens to you.
You're saying the victim needs to take responsibility, or who's supposed to do that? Who's supposed to take?
We all have. This is a great question, and I just pulled up something by my favorite writer, Viktor Frankl, one of my favorite writers, Viktor Frankl, who was a survivor of Auschwitz.
Okay.
And he wrote, among many other books, he wrote the bestseller, Man's Search for Meaning.
Okay, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. So, he survived a concentration camp, and he developed a whole psychological way of viewing the world, of developing meaning as a means of not only survival, but thriving in life. So what he witnessed while he was in this concentration camp, he witnessed the ones who survived understood their why. They had meaning. They had a reason to live, whatever it may be. The hope of seeing a loved one once they got out. But hope. They had hope. They had a why. They had a meaning and a reason to live. And he did as well. And that's how he survived, almost 2 years in a concentration camp. He lost his entire family. But he wrote this book, Man's Search for Meaning, to share it with the world. And he talks about the choosing. He talks about this, and I'll just read, because he'll say it better than I can, but it relates to what we're discussing. So Viktor Frankl says, everything can be taken from a man but one thing. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. He also said, along those same lines, ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather must recognize that it is he who is asked. But rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. And who is he asked by? God, the universe, life. It's life asking me what the meaning of my life is. And that's what I mean, Steve, by when I say we're taking responsibility for what happens to you.
Okay.
Making a choice to say, Here I am ready, send me. I know who I am. I'm in right relationship with God, right?
Yeah.
And there's meaning here. I give it meaning. So it's not, and this goes back to years and years of me waiting as a child, waiting for God to call me, waiting for God to give me a message, give me a sign, waiting and waiting. And then I realized, again, after this baptism, oh, I have to ask. I have to attribute meaning to my life. Life is asking, I have to ask for God's help, but life is asking me. I'm not asking life to give meaning. Life is asking me. I have to answer it.
Oh,
So not
wow.
only do I have to call upon God for help, I have to answer the call. So in the choosing, I am chosen. So it happens for me, and these are light bulbs going off. So again, Viktor Frankl says, ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is. He shouldn't ask what it is, but rather must recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, each man is questioned by life. And I substitute questioned by God, right?
Yeah.
God's asking the questions. Jesus asked questions. He spoke in parables. He told stories. He wanted us to come up with the answers. He wanted us to invest in our own story. He didn't give the answers. He did eventually, right? But he was asking us to live the questions, and then find the answers ourselves. And he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. Man can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible.
Yeah.
We have to answer. We have to ask for help and then answer the call.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. You're probably a couple chapters ahead of me in understanding that, but I mean, it's like I hear what you're saying, because we're asking for God for help, and then sometimes we sit and wait for the help to arrive, where God's saying, when you asked me, I already told you at that time what to do. Remember those thoughts that went in your head, that type of thing. Why haven't you done that? Why are you coming to ask for more when I already told you? That would be the closest thing that I could almost understand.
Well, I think we agree. It's because what it is a heart has to be cultivated to be open and available, right?
Yeah.
So, and what's required for that, Steve? Surrender. So here are the three phases, and this is just my experience. I'm just giving you part of my understanding of it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you asked, and I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So for me, surrender is about letting go, right? So we move through life. We're not fulfilled. We're not getting what we want, really. We're getting maybe materially what we want. But there comes a time when we realize God doesn't give us what we want. He gives us what we are.
Okay.
He gives us what we are. Now, in order to understand that, we have to surrender our false identity. We have to surrender a way of working that isn't working for us. It's not making us feel fulfilled. It's not deepening our sense of spirit. It's not forming connection. It's closing us off, isolating us, alienating us. We have to surrender. Jesus said it. Deny thyself, take up thy cross, and follow me. Deny thyself, take up your cross, and follow me. Denying yourself is surrendering, letting go. Once we let go, right, we create space for what's meant for us.
That's true. That's a strong
I feel like
truth.
Jesus said it.
Yeah.
Deny thyself, the false identity, the sense of self that no longer works for us. It's blocking us from experiencing the light. We have to surrender it. Let go, or you will be dragged.
Wow.
The second phase is sacrifice. I'm just learning this from Jesus, and I'm applying it to my own life. The second phase is sacrifice. Now, not all of us can choose to be martyred and crucified on a cross, but we all have our journey to the cross.
Yeah.
And like Abraham sacrificing what was most precious to him, like God sacrificing his most beloved son. We all have to make a sacrifice. That is, things that are precious to us, that we're holding on to too tightly, that we become attached to, that we're clinging to, that don't serve us.
Yeah.
And then the third phase, service, right? So then we enter, once we've sacrificed, again, creating more space in the heart that's available for what's meant for us. And then we can devote our lives to being of service to God. And in doing that, we have to serve other people. The work you're doing in Uganda, the work, that many people are doing, teachers, we can do it with anything we're doing.
Yeah.
Podcasters, spreading the gospel, holding conversations, being a positive source of light in the world. That's being of service. But we have to serve our fellow man and woman, humankind. And that's how we honor and worship God.
So good. So good. Hey, I want to do one more thing.
Okay.
And that is, I want, we actually introduced it, the concept of it when we first started in today. And I want people to see this funny little thing about the spy who fed me. Now, you played a spy for Rome, and you spied on Jesus, and that's so you're the spy. And I'll let this speak for itself of what that thing. This is like a little series you had going. I don't mean little, but I don't even know how popular it is, but it's on YouTube, right?
It's yes, it's immensely popular.
Yeah. So, you'll have to tell me. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and play that clip. It's like a trailer of opening. Here we go.
Jesse.
Yes?
How do you know my name?
The word's out.
So it's true then. You're on your feet.
Are you Roman?
Does my accent give me away?
I already told the Sanhedrin all I know.
I was born Roman. Yes. But I'm just a man. I had to see with my own eyes. I believe it was a miracle.
That's the wrong clip, guys. Do you guys hear it? It's that sort of comical one with the food in it. Do you have that one? Maybe you didn't get it ready. Let's see. Oh, we don't have another clip. I watched it myself. We'll have to bring you back on. We will bring you back on in the future, I'm sure, but we'll play that. But talk about what that, so people can look it up, with the spy that fed me. What's that all about, and how popular is it?
Well, actually, you see in that clip that I have an apple in my hand, right?
Yeah.
So if you know The Chosen and you know Atticus, I'm eating quite a lot. In most scenes, the first 3 seasons, I'm eating something while I'm...
Really? So that was always, that was intentional.
Yeah. So that was written into that scene. That's the first time it appears. So it's actually appropriate that you played it, because that scene was the first time. That was the first scene I shot.
Oh, it is.
Chosen.
Really?
My first day, my first
my
scene.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the scene, it's written, Atticus comes into the scene down the steps with an apple, eating an apple. And then, you see it there. I have another apple. And I get, dates. Sometimes I switch it up. Almonds, dates, olives. I'm eating a lot. And so last year, 2 years ago, the marketing team came to me and they pitched this story. They said, hey, we got a great idea. We think you'll like it. Here's the pitch. They did a whole storyboard. They said, we get Atticus, we get Elijah Alexander dressed as Atticus in the Roman authority, sitting across from cast members, and we take a deep dive into their personal lives.
Wow.
And we bring in their favorite meals. We bring in foods that they've associated with certain times in their lives, perhaps their childhood, comfort foods, and we start having we commune over a meal. We break bread, and the whole idea is when you're eating and drinking, someone always spills something.
Okay, yeah, I saw that part in the clip.
It's
too.
not Yeah, it's not interrogation, it's
Well, you did
conversation.
have a
So,
line in that opening where you said nobody leaves until. Do you remember that line?
yeah, no,
And
nobody leaves without spilling something.
yeah. So it was like, and it was you could see the comical nature on your expression, and it was a solo bit where you're telling
Oh yeah,
people.
I know what you're talking about.
And then they show the staff, or that's not the right word. The cast all then gorging on the food, and now they're all
Yeah.
talkative because it's like I'm not a wine drinker, but it does for people what wine does. Once you're eating, everybody's lips are loosened, right? Isn't that the idea?
Right. That's the whole idea. And so it's we have conversation while eating, and it makes people feel safe, especially if they have their favorite foods in front of them. And we've had cast members do outrageous things and share secret talents.
Really?
And, and so it's the series has become immensely popular because people have that levity and that sense of humor, and they get to know something new about cast members that they've been following for 6 years.
Yeah. Can you guys put that on the screen? Can you make that into a banner real quick? They put it on my chat side. You might see that on your chat to the side. But youtube.com/@thechosen. If you can make that into a banner, there it is. That's how they get to that. That's just to the series, or to that. I guess that's to the series itself. That may or may not.
Yeah, that's the series itself. It's The Spy Who Fed Me.
And that
it's on the same channel.
It's on the same channel. So you go down there and you scroll down further, and it says The Spy Who Fed Me, and it's the first one. So that was brilliant. That was brilliant. So you did. How long has that been going?
2 years now. And so they just literally 3 weeks ago. There it is. They asked if I am interested and available for a second season of The Spy Who Fed Me. So we're going to launch into that this July, August. I'm going to do another 8 episodes. And
it's like, is this more downright humor, or are there some serious moments where somebody shares something that's serious, or is it mostly
Liz, who plays Mary Magdalene, Tabish, that was very revelatory, as to what her life was like before The Chosen,
really,
and how it changed her life, how it came, afforded her a certain opportunity to explore certain things in her life that needed to be explored. I mean, she was going to give up acting. She was on the verge of giving it up entirely when The Chosen.
She's like the perfect person to play Mary. And
amazing.
She was a victim to start with, and then she becomes this very, very righteous person. Yeah, and then she struggles. Then further along, she falls back a little bit, and Jesus, welcome. If I'm remembering that story right.
Yep, you are. I mean, and she represents all of us, who were broken, and then became stronger in the broken places. That's what the hearts of contrition do, and that's why I always come back to talking about the heart, because that's what Jesus came for. He came for our hearts.
Yeah.
And so I try to bring that to when I'm teaching or working with young people. I just try to continually encourage from core, right? Heart, meaning heart. I try to encourage them to live more in their hearts instead of their minds. We get so wrapped up in fear. That's where fear is, right? Fearing, and not engaging here, with the heart. So I try to do that with my work as well, with all aspects of life. I feel like that's my responsibility.
Yeah. Well, I hope you'll come back because you've got a lot to offer, and maybe we'll find it. I think I also wanted to find out if Zebedee. I never know the actors' real names. I know their
oh my goodness! Why am I'm totally blanking.
Yeah. Well, you probably know more as Zebedee too, because you guys don't do all the scenes together, right?
No, I don't really work with him, but I'm doing a panel with him soon.
Yeah, he'd be great.
I'm embarrassed to say. Yeah, he's terrific. Right. He's an author. and he's had a major transformation as well.
Yeah, I saw some clips. Go ahead and say, do you have anything else you want to tell the people?
Well, Steve, I have this poem.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Is by one of my favorite living poet right now,
Okay.
David White.
Okay.
And he's a philosopher, a spiritualist, a teacher, a guide, and he's become one of my mentors. And this poem sort of encapsulates everything that this particular phase of my journey represents. And so I just, if you don't mind, I'd love to read it for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So his name is David White, and this
Okay.
is called The True Love.
Okay.
There is a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours. There is a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours. There is a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours, especially if you have waited years, and especially if part of you never believed you could deserve this loved and beckoning hand held out to you this way. I am thinking of faith now. I am thinking now of faith. I am thinking of faith now and the testaments of loneliness and what we feel we are worthy of in this world. Years ago in the Hebrides, I remember an old man who walked every morning on the gray stones to the shore of baying seals, who would press his hat to his chest in the blustering salt wind and say his prayer to the turbulent Jesus hidden in the water. And I think of the story of the storm. And I think of the story of the storm. And I think of the story of the storm. And everyone waking and seeing the distant yet familiar figure far across the water calling to them. And how we are all preparing for that abrupt waking. And how we are all preparing for that abrupt waking and that calling and that moment we have to say yes. And how we are all preparing for that abrupt waking and that calling and that moment we have to say yes. And that moment we have to say yes. Except it will not come so grandly, no, not so biblically, but more subtly and intimately in the face of the one you know you have to love. Except it will not come so grandly, no, not so biblically, but more subtly and intimately in the face of the one you know you have to love, in the face of the one you know you have to love. So that when we finally step out of that boat, toward them, so that when we finally step out of the boat toward them, we find everything holds us. And everything confirms our courage. And if you wanted to drown, you could. And if you wanted to drown, you could. And if you wanted to drown, you could. But you don't. But you don't. Because finally, after all the struggle and after all these years, you don't want to anymore. You've simply had enough of drowning. And you want to live. And you want to live. And you want to love. And you will walk across any territory and any darkness, however fluid and however dangerous, to take the one hand you know belongs in yours.
Wow. Very, very, very good. Wow. Profound. Now, this is a living poet, you said.
Yes, David White.
Okay. Wow. Very profound.
Yeah, I mean, that's about faith. And that's
Yeah,
about, to me, I mean, it's open to interpretation.
Yeah,
Everyone,
but I mean, it was
you know,
kind of, yeah, you're right. But he did kind of You have to have that. You have to have that.
And it's
You have
about
to have
love. It's about
Yeah.
love, Steve. It's about love. Like, you know, we have to let go or we are dragged. We have to surrender in order for our hearts to be available to that love, because we get so blocked. We resist it. We
Yeah.
resist it. And we have it unconditionally from God. It's available to us always, everyone, always, and in all ways. That love, but we have to make a choice. We have to be available to it. And that's what the heart is for. So this, you know, he just says it so perfectly, because
Yeah.
you get to a point where you're just tired of drowning.
Yeah.
You're just tired of being dragged, and you got to let go and open yourself up, like Peter saying, I'm going to step out onto the water. And then with pure faith, and then he starts to doubt himself and he starts sinking. And Jesus reaches down his hand, and Peter says, don't let me go. And Jesus doesn't.
So good. And that, I love that too, that line that basically says, no, you don't, finally it says, you don't want to drown. Finally, you want to live. And then, yeah, I bet that would go, you must read that do you read that to the high schoolers?
I haven't yet, actually.
I mean, interesting to try that out on one of the audiences and see how they take it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so
that's a good idea.
All right, well, Elijah, God bless you. This is so good, and I really mean it when I say I hope we get you back and give us some more reports of some of the things, even though when you're ready to promote that movie again. And
yes, I'm honored to. I'd be happy to.
All right, well, God bless you. Thank you so much for sharing your heart from the depths of your heart. We went long today, but you gave us permission, so we did it.
Yes, absolutely. It's my extreme pleasure.
Worth every minute of it. So, okay, everybody, tomorrow, Hank Kuhneman will be with us, so don't miss that at 11 o'clock Pacific. And Elijah, have a great day. Give our love and care to the whole chosen staff or whoever you're in touch with. And we will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Elijah. Bye-bye.
God bless you all.
God bless
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.